Yeah, so I don't know what it is. It's your boy JT with my partner HD.
Yo, 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 what up? This HD, the other half, opposite from the norm.
Yeah, so y'all just gonna be checking us out. We're gonna be having a conversation. So we're gonna get started on it. Like I was telling you when I text you earlier that I wanted to talk about the whole Democrats Republican thing because it seemed like our people actually think that. Well, I'm seeing a lot of them now. I think Republican is the way to go. Just like we know for years growing up, we always been like Democrats or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I
Unfortunately, we were ignorant to the fact of all the aspects of being a Democrat.
exactly. And you know what? It's just so crazy because so many people got disconnected from what Malcolm was saying. Like Malcolm was always saying that the liberals was full of shit too. He was
Right,
always saying that. They was the main ones using us. That's the main ones he was going after. But I think now for our people that's sitting up there thinking, you know, um, Republican is the way to go, but they don't realize Malcolm was just talking about the bullshit and the hypocrisy in all white people because it's systematic racism that we're dealing with.
right.
So I wanted
And you
to,
know something else, partner, was what I noticed with the Democrat thing? It was passed down in a lot of families, black families, because that what was told to our aunties, uncles, mothers, fathers, grandparents, that Democrats is for the black people. And they didn't really do their research to find out, if the Democrats were searching to make, changes to different policies or different laws or whatever in your local city. They just went for, oh, Democrat, that's the way to go. Let's do it. And then, when you grow up, you become a teenager and become 21 and everything like that, and you starting to vote, you just take what your parents or your grandparents or your aunties and uncles gave to you before we became knowledgeable of what really is a Republican, Democrat, independent, things like that. So for me, at least, and a lot of people that I've seen, it was just passed down. Go ahead, when you old enough to vote, vote Democrat because they're for the black people.
yeah, I was gonna say that also is that they put the pressure on us, like what you saying. So when we get older, when we get 18, if you ain't got a crime record or whatever, and you could vote at the time, then you already know they would be on some. Oh, make sure you vote for Sand Pocket. You know he a
Right.
Democrat, and then that was
Exactly.
it. We didn't look at none of the policies. Only thing we was worried about was they talking our language, which was yeah, we'll go do this, we're gonna go do that for y'all, and then we'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. And one thing,
Like with that Clinton shit. That Clinton shit.
I was
Oh,
just gonna bring,
Bill
I was just gonna
Clinton,
bring that up.
he played a saxophone and he smoked some weed, so he cool and he cheated on his wife. Oh man, he our first black president. So many of us were so stupid and ignorant to say that and believe that, and by saying that, we was putting our own people down. Cause it's basically like because he could play the saxophone. Oh, black people love music, and because he smoked weed, oh, all black people smoke weed. That's all we do is sit around and smoke weed. And then he cheated on
Other
his
fucked
wife.
up, yeah, I was just gonna say that the other fucked
Then
up
he
thing
cheated
too
on
was
his
his wife.
wife. That's the biggest thing they used to say. Oh man, he cheated on his wife. So he our first black president. So you're saying that all black men, there's no good black men out there. All black men cheat on their wives. No, that's bullshit. That's what they want you to think.
Mhm. And but I wanted to kind of talk about it because, like I said, I had been seeing some stuff. So I wanted to talk about how, sadly, we didn't pay we don't pay attention to our history still to this day. Because and this one I'm about to bring up. I know you're gonna go in on this. I'm gonna just bring it up and I'm gonna let you go in on it because I know you're gonna go in there. All right. So this is something that we don't think about, right? And I know you hear this all the time. So for all our listeners out there listening to this, please pay close attention. This is gonna be especially for our people that's talking this Republican shit now. For all any other non-black person that's hearing these black people speaking what they speak, you can see how now, sadly, a lot of us don't do our research. And if you really can, you really ally to the black community, then you will help change this. Like me and my partner was talking about before. All right. So what I'm about to bring up is gonna show you how both sides ain't shit. And what I'm gonna bring up, H, you can probably guess. What you think I'm gonna bring up?
I don't know. I'm waiting, man. I don't know. I'm chomping at the bit. Go ahead, bring it out.
I'm about to bring up Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh man.
And you know what I mean when I say Tulsa, Oklahoma. What I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and tell them what we talking about real quick. And then I'm gonna go in.
No, I want to let you lead. This your topic. I'm gonna let you
No,
lead, and
I
then
just
I'll
I just
jump.
want you to say that one those words that and because you already know what
Black
I'm gonna
Wall
talk.
Street.
There you go, Black Wall Street. I'm about to go in on that. So bear with me because I'm gonna do it on speakerphone. Hold on. All right. You can still hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, now I was just making sure you can hear me. All right, hold on, because I have put this up on here on my page. All right, so check this out. So since this is and like I said before, I want this to be a testimony of how both parties ain't shit. While we got so many black people who think they're so knowledgeable because they bring up talking points that Republicans give them to help their conversation because I know we said we shouldn't watch it, but I had to watch this one just because the person they had on the interview. I had watched this whole entire Breakfast Club interview. It was like 48 minutes long. Black lady who's running for a district in Atlanta, and she's Republican. She's talking about, I forget her name, Angela something, but she's talking about how Trump pardoned her, helped out in her situation because when she had one of her last babies, I think she was on Section 8. She was locked in prison, and when she gave birth to her baby, she was locked to she was confined in handcuffs to the bed while she was giving birth. Which is fucked up. And but I had to listen because I wanted to see her mindset, but she kept caping for Republicans and saying the Democrats are the racist ones, right? So check this out. Let me go to it. Hold on. Not this one. I want to go to the first one. I'm gonna show you how both are full of shit. Okay, so when Tulsa, Oklahoma happened, the then governor of Oklahoma, the governor of Oklahoma was James Brooks Ayers Robertson, and he was a Democrat. He was the governor of Tulsa, Oklahoma, when they burnt down Black Wall Street. Okay, he was a Democrat. Now check this out. The fucking mayor when this happened, name was T.D. Evans, and he was a Republican. So while one of our greatest, if not damn near the greatest thing that we had as a black people was I'm gonna take it off speakerphone. Was black, they called it Black Wall Street. That was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This happened in 1921. It was a governor that was a Democrat, and it was a mayor that was a Republican. None of these motherfuckers did anything to stop the situation that was going on when they burnt this shit down. The situation that happened, I believe, when they tried to get to like when the lynch mob was trying to get the black brother that was accused of I think either was it if you remember, was it raping a chick or killing her? I think it was rape, wasn't it?
It's one of those. And I pulled up the young lady. I think Angela King. Is that who you're speaking of?
I believe so.
Yeah, it says she is candidate for the U.S. House of Georgia District 5.
Yep,
She's
that's her.
Republican Party.
Yep, that's her.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it was I guess it was for rape or something like that. Anyway, we'll get back to it. Maybe you can pull it up to make sure while I'm talking. Okay, so this mob went to go get the dude. They locked the dude up. I think the lady said she couldn't remember it was him or not or something like that. And that wasn't good enough for the lynch mob. So they tried to go get the black dude out of jail. I think they might have, and I think they might have killed him or something like that. And they was looking for him, something like that. I gotta get the Story straight. It was so long since I read it. But that whole night they ended up burning down the fucking city. But I think before that, the mayor or the governor could have did something about that. So instead of doing something about that or helping them rebuild, it was a Democrat and a fucking Republican that was over this state and city. So my thing is when they're saying, because you got at this time, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if somebody want to argue that point with us, they can say, oh well, if it was so bad, then why would they let them build and do? You gotta understand at this time they would let blacks get certain areas, but they
Right.
would still keep opportunities from them because at this time,
The
another
people
thing.
who gonna battle you on that, they need to look up redlining if they want to try to
Thank
battle somebody. Look up
you.
redlining before you try to hop in and open your mouth and battle on that.
Because another thing that was happening at that time was they were trying to get railroads to go through there, and they was blocking that. They was getting no assistance on that. So everything was okay long as it was confined. Long as it was confined in that area. They didn't give a fuck what black people did. They basically left them alone. They didn't care.
And think about this, homie, from just the point of if someone says, well, they let them do this and that. But during that time, yes, those people, all those great brothers and sisters who built up Black Wall Street so that blacks can have something, yes, they wanted to have a black hospital, black grocery store. They wanted to have everything black owned so to be for us. But why do you think they did that? Because they was getting turned down. There were certain hospitals we couldn't go in because we was black. Grocery stores we could not go get food from because we were black. So it's basically like, well, shit, we can't even get food. We can't even get medical care. So we're gonna have to do this. So it wasn't just about we wanted to have something for just blacks. It was because we get turned away. Imagine you a father and you have a wife and 3 kids and you just trying to go to the grocery store just to feed your family because they're hungry, and all 3 of the grocery stores in your town turn you away, say you can't shop here, nigga. What were we to do besides build something up for us so that we can have something? So that if we get injured, we can go to the hospital. If we're hungry, we can go to the grocery store. So it wasn't just about, oh, black people wanted to have something. We ain't had no choice.
Then they got another thing they got to think about when they say how welfare crippled us. It was Roosevelt who put it in 35, I believe, and this is during the time of the Great Depression, but that helped everybody. That wasn't just for black people. When Roosevelt put this into play, it was to help the country out. This wasn't just for us. Okay, so now when you fast forward a little bit, you got to realize, okay, and he was a Democrat. So, but there's been other Republican presidents that was in place that could have did something about it if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? So let's say states are by themselves, but then you have 45 who put Ben Carson in charge of HUD. So they could have did something a long time ago if that was such an issue, but they didn't really do nothing. So for all the people that keep talking about Republicans, especially our own people now, what my point of this conversation is to stress that both sides did us wrong. Like we talk about all the time. Let's go back to Lincoln. If people look this up, I ain't got to read it. Y'all can look this up for yourselves. Lincoln ran 4 times. He won the 4 times. The first 3, he was talking about not freeing the slaves and possibly sending slaves back to Africa or to the islands or something like that to go on about their business. But everything he's doing is going to be for the white man. These are
Right.
things
And this
people
this is
look
the
this up.
president that y'all hold up and say, oh, he was for the black people. He freed us. Oh, if you do your research and look it up, Lincoln was really black. Shut your dumb asses up. All y'all people who say, now how can somebody be for so this and that for blacks and he owned them? And as my partner just said, when he was running before he actually won, he ain't want shit to do with black people. So even if when he on his 4th time when he won, if he was talking, why do you think he was talking about this and that for black people? Why do you think? More for him. So miss me with that. Oh, Lincoln was the first president that was for the blacks. You need to do your fucking research. Do some homework.
Now that was the start of how black people started becoming Republicans, right? They
Right.
even talk about in history how you had white people that came down, college students, a lot of them, to help push black people in, to keep black people into the Republican votes. Okay, but this is the issue. When they was doing that, this is at the time, and this is another thing people gotta think about. At this time, this was like so they can go ahead and push that time when they was doing the factories and things of that nature, and kind of like engineering or whatever, and factories. So it would have been an issue if they would have kept a lot of their slaves. But what people don't realize, another thing I was reading about, come to find out, Abraham Lincoln was also talking about that it was certain states that all they had to do was simulate, and they still could keep their slaves. But a lot of these states still didn't want to go for that because they look like, man, I done brought these slave motherfuckers, and now you talking about me doing this and doing that to help you and out there. It was certain states that did simulate and was able to keep slaves. In fact, that's why you have, before they really, really started doing something to ban it, that's why you have northern states like Pennsylvania that still had slaves on the low. Virginia, you know what I'm saying? It was other states that simulated, but they still had slaves on the low. So this is what people and the people that are objective and want to really hear the truth and go off facts, gonna listen to what we saying. Those Uncle
Right.
Tom Sambo motherfuckers, you ain't gonna be able to change their mind. And like we said before, we can't
Right.
worry about them. We got something bigger that we're trying to
They can
worry
stay
about.
over on that side.
Stay over there then. But don't keep coming over here saying you're for black people and you're not. Like the one brother I was telling you about, Colin Noir. Okay, I was watching some of his Vlad interviews and other stuff I seen. He does some good stuff. He went to Chicago and did some, talked about gun laws and how certain things affects. And I want to bring that up. Another thing when it comes to politics. Now we talk about what Bill Clinton did. Now he let it be known on some real shit. A lot of times, what we didn't realize and how easy it was for Democrats to do certain shit when they said more strict drug laws, more strict gun laws. Now, one thing Colin Noir did say that made sense was that we got to realize when those laws passed, that affected our community even more. That's on the Democrats because the way they talk is like, oh, this is going to help you. But when the police would come through communities, and we seen this all our lives growing up, especially being in the South, where it's really racist at, we seen how they would use those laws to enforce and fuck with us even more. But you got, when you look to the suburbs and stuff, they're not going to the suburbs and enforcing those gun laws. You know what I'm saying? And people can say, oh, because it's what black people do. That's fine. Say that all you want. But the truth of the matter is the Democrats fucked us over there. Now fast forward. No, let's rewind back a little bit. I was just talking about Bill Clinton. That was the early 90s. Let's back up a little bit. Another way you can see how Republicans fucked us. I just brought up what Democrats did with the whole law passing and it really pushed mass incarceration. That was on the Democrats. That's on the Clinton administration. Now let's go back to Nixon and Reagan administration. Both Republican motherfuckers. Now, this is what people got to do. They got to do their research on this too. Like I said, for everybody listening to this show, I want y'all to do y'all research, especially our people. So you don't get misled by these new Sambos that's talking about they for the Republicans and Democrats so racist like the Republicans ain't either. Go back and do your research. I want you to do your research on Ricky Ross and Nicaragua. Okay, Nicaragua was I might be fucking up. Nicaragua, however you say that shit. Y'all try to put it in your voice thing because you probably gonna be able to spell it out with how I'm saying Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
However you say it.
Nicaragua.
Okay, it was having a war then. The way they wanted to get money off that war, and this is when Reagan was in office, they peddled drugs into the community. They was getting drugs from over there, and they was getting drugs, I think, from Colombia or somewhere like that. Whatever. They was pushing all the coke into Compton, one of the first cities that they was throwing this into, right? So they can get the funding from that. Guess who was the main person that was getting a lot of money in Compton? Ricky Ross. In LA, Ricky Ross was one of those people, and a lot of people know Rick Ross, the rapper. But look up Ricky Ross and how he was getting his drugs from Noriega, and the country was in cahoots with a lot of people over there, and they were trying to fight the wars over there. So they was using drugs. A CIA agent even came to one of those like um committee hearings or something like that, and it's at Compton. Y'all can look this up on YouTube. There was a former CIA agent that testified in front of the community about what they was doing. Then you got Nixon. Nixon was also bringing drugs and guns into certain communities. They talk about how in Chicago back then, it'd be a lot of times where guns would just be dropped off out of nowhere. There'd be guns standing there for a while, and people find them, and then that's how a lot of gangs start getting guns. But a lot of people don't want to talk about these things. Nixon and Reagan was responsible for a lot of shit that went down in the communities. Y'all got to look this shit up. So for all the people that saying, "Oh, they're not racist," it's not the Republicans, it's both these motherfuckers. It's both of these motherfuckers that was doing this type of shit that they was doing that fucked up the black community. You got the
And
Democrats
that
doing fair bullshit. I'm sorry, what?
no, I was gonna say that information that you just gave, that's really not hard to find. And a lot of Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross, not the fake ass rapper, the real Rick Ross, in a lot of his interviews, whether it be interviews on Vlad TV or whatever, he goes into deep details. You can watch. He has a couple different documentaries out there. There's one documentary that's on Netflix. He talks about the government, how they was involved, how they was behind all this drug pushing. So these, once again, like my partner just said, these are not just assumptions. These are facts. These are things that are documented. You can look these things up and see and hear and read all these things, and it's proven. So this is not just some shit that we're saying just to push an agenda.
So if I'm missing a little bit on the dates or anything like that, like I said, I want y'all to Google it. I want you to research it for yourself. Even if I brought out the research, I wouldn't want y'all to just go off what I'm saying. I want y'all to look it up. Like I said, look up Ricky Ross, not the rapper, Ricky Ross from LA. Look him up. Then look up Nicaragua. I want y'all to look up these things. Look at Nixon's involvement and look at Ronald Reagan's involvement. You have both. These are both Republicans. Now go back, everybody. We always hear this. Now, like I said, this is not being biased. I want y'all to look up the crime bill that happened with Bill Clinton. Now, mind you, like I was saying, he said something when I was watching an interview, and he was talking about back then there was a lot of older black people in the community that was pushing for these laws to be passed when it came to the crime bill. That's what happened with the mass
Right.
incarceration. But what people got to realize, it started with Republicans. That's where the mass incarceration started, was with Republicans. This is another thing you got to realize. After Lincoln so-called quote unquote freed the slaves, guess what else? Guess what happened under that Republican? That's where you have the police started after that. So that's another thing I want people to look up. The policing, the 13th Amendment. These are the things that started after the freeing of the slaves. That was under a Republican. It was not a Democrat. The same Republican that freed us is the same motherfucker that helped with the policing starting of black people, because you got to realize you got all these free slaves. What we going to do with these free slaves? It's a way we still can get money. Guess what? If we lock their ass up, they still got to do labor. It's still going to be free labor. So at this
And
time,
that's
yeah, my
and
bad. Go
that's
ahead.
sad. What you're saying, it's sad that a lot of people don't know how much money is being made in the prison system. Like all this stuff has connections and it's connected to greed and money from the Democrats and the Republicans, from these white people that just get buckets and buckets of money from this. I've looked at different documentaries where it goes into detail on how much money the prison system makes. It's a big business, and you can even invest in certain stocks that have to do with the prison system. It's all about that money. And as you said, once the slaves were quote unquote freed, they thought of another way to make money off our ass. It wasn't necessarily throwing our ass in the cotton fields, which they still were doing after they said that the slaves were quote unquote freed by Lincoln. There was still people picking cotton for years and years after that, but they started making money instead of in the cotton fields with the prison system.
And don't forget that they still was allowing people to say that's my slave. On the low, they still was that's my slave, and people would find them these people and bring them back to either prison or they would bring them back to a slave master. So these things were still perpetuating. These things were still going on. This is what people got to realize. So yes, I'm gonna keep it real now. I'm gonna throw this in here too. This is why I say there's no biasness. Both sides are crooked. Nah, but I'm gonna give a real point. There were a lot of Republicans back then at that time. There were times that they was allowing black Republicans. That was true. That was happening. But they also come about there was black Democrats that was politicians. All right. But at the same time, I was listening to Roland Martin and he said something interesting. There was a difference in Democrats. It wasn't just South. It wasn't just the South was all Democrats. They had Northern Democrats. This is what people got to realize. So there was people that was not that way, but like we talk about, Abraham Lincoln and his family had slaves. Thomas Jefferson had slaves. Back to George Washington, he had slaves. George Washington was independent, but they was Republicans and they was presidents. They had slaves and they was Republicans. So what does that tell you? So to make it seem like only Democrats were slave masters is bullshit because there was Republicans that was fucking slave masters as well. So these are the things that people need to look up. And like you said, um, these are not things that people can't find. But the reason why I was like, yo, H, we need to go ahead and talk about this more is because we are seeing like the chick, what'd you say her name? Angela, what was her last name?
Angela King.
That's right, King. Angela King. She is one of those black people that keep speaking the same coonery that Republicans want her to speak. That's why you'll find them getting pushed more into the front because they're able to say things that these white people can't say. Now, if you heard a white Republican come out and say, I don't know how you gonna vote for them and they had slaves, they racist. You man, black people will tear their ass up. So it gotta be a black person that come out and say this. That's the same way Joe Biden, he's a Democrat. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's disrespectful too. So we got black Republicans talking shit, and then we got liberal Democrats saying crazy shit up. That's why I was saying before, us being in this country, why, however long it lasts or whatever, if we come together and we got our mindset on what we want and who's the person that's going to carry it out, it shouldn't matter whether it's Democrat or Republican. Us working together is how we do this because we got to realize something. Black people are not in the state of being to all become Republicans again. We're not in that mindset no more. If all these people keep saying, "Oh, well, you know, black people fucking up, we doing this wrong, we doing that wrong," then why the fuck would you want to tell me to go Republican? All these people that are saying that are more well off than the average black person. I seen some study where they were saying by the year 2045 or 40 or something like that, which ain't that far off, that most black people won't even have $8 to their name. They saying right now it's around $800. They saying by then it might be like negative. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna be below the poverty line.
Right. So but all these black people that are trying to push for Republicans, we're not in the right mindset yet. This is what I'm saying. Like it would probably be even better we went independent, have our own independent party that we're backing.
I mean, we even talked about why don't we try to, I mean, of course, anytime we come up with ideas, we know this is not going to happen overnight or in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, but why don't we as black people try to come up with our own party? Fuck an independent, fuck a Republican, fuck a Democrat. Why don't we come up with our own type of party? And that way we could try to do things for us, and by us, instead of trying to integrate ourselves into what they've already had for years and years and years and years and have built it up to be a certain way. Because even if we're voting Democrat, Republican, we're still not sitting at the quote unquote table. We're not in a hierarchy of anything. But if we start our own party somehow, some way, then we can be sitting at the table. It'll be our table.
Yeah, let's pull up our own chair. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the problem. We
And
keep
that's what they did with Black Wall Street. They pulled up their own fucking chair. And I was sorry to cut you off, but I was speaking about this the other day to someone. Like, why is it that Black Wall Street was so long ago and there's never been another one? Why haven't we come together and built up something that's all black grocery stores, all black hospitals, all black doctors' offices, all black banks, everything be all black? Why was that so long ago and we haven't come together with all this money that we are coming across now, black people in sports or entertainment, acting, or even the blacks who, are doctors, lawyers, architects, who are in the stock market, things like that. Why haven't we come together and built up Black Wall Street 2.0? Why haven't we done that?
because
All
I'm
we
gonna tell
do
you, we're
is
no
rant and
longer.
rave about how it was back then and how bad it was, but we haven't tried to rebuild it up.
I'm gonna tell you, we desegregation happened. That's why.
Right, right,
Once we no longer had to depend on each other, turn to each other, and we can turn to them.
right.
That's when
We
it
always got
became
our hand out to them. Always.
exactly.
We
Because
always
you got
got
to
our
think,
hand out.
instead of you, right? Like, say if like when Craig Hodges talks about, that's another thing y'all need to look up. When Craig Hodges talks about how Michael Jordan, he tried to tell Michael Jordan once he got to a certain level, when he was with Nike, you don't need him anymore.
Right.
Why don't you create your own shoe, and then you can build warehouses in Chicago and give these young brothers a job? He didn't want to do that. But I guarantee you, if back then, and say it was 1942 instead of 92 or 93, it was 42 or 43, and who he was now, back then, I guarantee you Jordan would have did it. You know why? Because he know the motherfuckers don't fuck with us like that. He would have did it back then. But seeing that it is now the way it is, you don't have to be around your people. When we get on your nerves, you can just run to them. But it's so funny that when things go bad for you, they always want to come back to us, i.e. OJ. He want to come back to the black community. He stay in the black community in St. Petersburg right now with his family. Now he want to come back to the hood. Come on, man. This is the problem that
OJ
we
and
all
St. Pete?
think about. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Hell no, I didn't know that.
I got a couple people that had seen him too. I ain't gonna say what area he in because I don't want the white people running up on him and murderer. He might be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
He
But
might try to write another book.
I still got it. That's what the next book gonna be called.
Right, I
So,
still got it.
but on the real shit, like we talk about, these are like conversations we always had. We just want y'all to be privy to them. The thing that's sad is, like I said, we think running from one master to another master makes sense. We think escaping one plantation to run to another plantation makes sense. If all them other people that want to be that way, fine, let them be that way. They're gonna find out in the end, because all the black Republicans, what I noticed, they're one or two things. They're either greedy and damn near evil like the rest of these white Republicans, or they're very subservient, meaning that they stay in that little boy or little girl state. They stay in those states. You rarely see, especially nowadays, black Republicans with the nuts to stand up for their own people. Matter of fact, I want y'all to look up one more thing when you're looking up stuff. Look up Larry Elder. That's another black coon, right? Who's a Republican. But I forget what the conversation was about. But I want y'all to look up the argument he had with I think it's that older white chick name. Her name Kelly something. I forget her name. But Larry Elder was trying to argue a point about something about a black issue, and this white lady went in on him. I think her name was Kelly Ingram. I think that's her name. I want y'all to look up the argument. Either look up Larry Elder versus Kelly Ingram, or put Larry Elder argument on Fox News, and see how when he brought up a black issue, white lady shut his ass down. Like, these are the things that people are not paying attention to. And one more thing, like I said, the black dude Colin Noir, He always talking about the Second Amendment, the gun laws, and all that. I was listening to him. I seen Chicago thing, but it still bothered me because I was like, man, maybe we can have a talk with him. I put on his comments says, I like you need to have a interview on the show because he said something that made no sense, and this is why. And he's a Republican. This is why it's hard for us to get along with him. He said he felt that the ruling on George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin case was a fair ruling because he was going off the facts. And I'm like, I put in the comment section, I'm looking like you couldn't have been going off the same facts that I seen
Right.
because if we going off facts, because he said people try to say it was stand your ground, but really it was self-defense. Listen, this is what people need to realize. Trayvon Martin was standing his ground. You got some dude that's a grown man following you while you walking from the store with fucking Skittles and an Arizona tea, and he's fucking following you with a gun. He finally turned around and said, like, probably in his head, like, man, the hell with this, and turned around and addressed him, and they got into a physical altercation. So he might have whooped his ass, but he had it coming. This is a 17-year-old boy. 17-year-old.
It's so easy for him and whoever, all these crackers and all these house niggas, to give their opinion on something that they've never faced or been a part of. They've never ever had to go through the things you and I have went through as black men in high school and after high school in these neighborhoods dealing with cops. They did not have to deal with what Trayvon had to deal with that night, which he didn't deserve, which he didn't do anything to call that upon him. It's easy for these white people who had a great privileged life, or even if they didn't grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth, they grew up in certain neighborhoods and they didn't have that. Or even the white people that quote unquote grew up in the hood with us, they don't get followed around like that. They don't get thrown on the ground and have to lay face down in the concrete for an hour like that. So it's very easy for somebody to say what a 17-year-old boy who was doing nothing should have thought or did.
No, check this though. But for the black dude calling Noir, he said he went through something like that before. So but you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is with that situation where he said self-defense, like I said, this is a 17-year-old fucking child, of somebody's child. He calls, if everybody recalls that's listening, George Zimmerman called the police first. He called 911 first, and y'all can listen to the audio. They basically tell him to let the police handle it, and he still followed the man. He still followed this boy. Instead of
So with
letting
those facts out there, I don't even see how that motherfucker isn't under the jail because they gave him an order. They gave him an order to stand down.
that's the main thing. They told him to stand down, and he still went and did it. He was intoxicated, so that's two strikes right there. They told him to stand down. That's the one. Let the police deal with it. Then he was intoxicated, and he had a gun. I guarantee you that it says nowhere in the gun laws of being able to carry a concealed weapon that you can be intoxicated while handling a gun. So that's three things right there he did wrong. Okay, that's three things he did wrong right there. For that reason, that should have been murder. Now let's talk about this too. I want to bring this up while we're on the subject real quick. Now, say if somebody says, okay, now this is where you open Pandora's box and it can never be closed. When you think about it like this, say somebody say, oh, well, he was taller than George Zimmerman, but he still was a 17-year-old boy. So let's say they say, oh, he couldn't tell he was a boy. He probably thought he was a grown man because he was a lot taller than him. Okay, I would say, so you can't see in his face that he's a child? All right, well, let me bring it up for this part. It's this dude named South Park Mexican. And Vlad was talking to this another Mexican artist named Baby Bash. And he brought up what happened to South Park Mexican. South Park Mexican went to a strip club, started getting dances from this dancer, took her back to the crib, had sex, and he fathered a child from her. Come to find out, this girl was 13, 14 years old. Police put his ass under the jail. I think he got like 50, 70 years or some shit for this, okay? So, if you mean to tell me that this dude can use the excuse that, oh, she was in a place that you got to be 18 or older and 18 or older to work, I didn't know she was 18, and Vlad and the court basically feels like, well, you should have been to know she was 14 years old. Okay, then. So if that's the case, then George Zimmerman should have been able to know that Trayvon Martin was 17 fucking years old, no matter how tall he is. Now, if that ain't an excuse, then South Park Mexican should be in prison right now for knocking up a girl that was 14, and he couldn't tell because they was at a fucking strip club that you could be 18 or older to go in and 18 or older to work at. Then he should be in prison right now. These are things that people got to think about. You
Well,
can't
even
place
if
that
you
on him
say
because
that,
he was a
homie, even if you say, oh, he didn't know he was 17 because of the height difference. The bottom line is the pigs told him to stand down. So it don't matter if Trayvon was 4 feet tall or 7'1". You were given an order. Period. So that excuse is irrelevant. Even if he was 6'11", they told you to let the police come and handle it. Period.
no. What I'm saying is, being that he was a 17-year-old minor,
Yeah.
that's another reason on top of them telling him to stand down that he should have got charged for murder. That's
But
another
no,
reason on
I
top of
know.
that.
I know what you're saying. I'm just talking about the ignorant people who will say he didn't know he was 17.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if he's 17 or 45. They told him to stand the fuck down.
And
Period.
he was intoxicated,
And
handling
intoxicated.
loaded weapon. That's another charge within itself. He's not supposed to be handling a loaded weapon while he's intoxicated. That's
Yet this
another.
piece of shit is walking free.
And then what did he do? He got into a gun standoff with a neighbor, and he went to jail for pulling a pistol on his stepfather. I mean his father-in-law. So
And now
what
he's
does that
trying to
show
go
you? What
around
type
and
of person he is?
autograph bags of Skittles. That just tells you what kind of evil, disrespectful, devilish piece of shit this motherfucker is. He's basically throwing it in black people's face that I killed one of y'all. Now I'm signing autographs. Why would you go around and sign bags of Skittles if you had any kind of heart inside your chest? He doesn't. Yet we as
That
black
shows
people will walk around and hate each other and try to send shots at each other, but ain't nobody took this motherfucker down. Nobody. Nobody. Ain't nobody stepped up and took this piece of shit out.
and I can't even say they fumbled the ball on this one. That was on purpose. I can't say that was a fumble. That was on purpose. And like I said, and I brought that issue up, everybody, because like I said, with black Republicans, that's the issue we have with them. This is why a lot of black people don't fuck with black Republicans like that no more, because of that mindset. He killed a 17-year-old child and still got around here pulling guns on people. And then you mean to tell me now he doing this ignorant shit like that? This is what we're saying. How can you support somebody like that? And he broke the law. So this is the problem we have with black Republicans, and because of that, they still will justify. And let me say this for everybody: when it comes to racism, racism is a mindset that is learned and regurgitated. It's a mindset because you got
It's
to think,
passed down.
passed down. George Zimmerman, right? When I first seen him, he didn't look like he was Hispanic to me. I thought he was a white dude, especially with a last name like Zimmerman. That's not a
Right.
Hispanic name. I don't care if you say Zimmerman. It's still fucking. There's not a Hispanic sounding name. He didn't look like a white person. He doesn't carry. I mean, Hispanic person. He doesn't carry himself like a Hispanic person.
You don't
So,
probably even identify as Hispanic. He probably identifies as a cracker.
so when you got all of those issues, and you see that what kind of mindset this person carries himself as. So that's why with the black Republicans, they regurgitate the same bullshit that they keep hearing because they think that makes them better. It doesn't make you better because you're not being for your people. Like I said, if we're all on one accord and say, well, it's hard to even say this because this stupid motherfucker then fucked up everything right now. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They trying to say they still like. That's another thing. Angela King, bitch, her stupid ass. They brought up that okay, that 45 was responsible for all this unemployment because they keep saying, oh, Obama didn't do nothing. And Charlemagne was like, yeah, but no, Envy, one of them was like, yeah, but it's 30, 40 unemployed Americans right now. Your president is responsible for that. No, he's not, because he tried to put the travel ban on when the pandemic was happening. No, you stupid motherfucker. What you're not listening to is when it first came out in December, when they was talking about it, he said it's a Democrats hoax. Who gives a fuck if it was fucking Cheech and Chong hoax? You were supposed to be more responsible for that. That's why it hurts me even say, if we all as a collective voted Republican, I ain't gonna say 445, but Republican, maybe that would have meant we was more on an accord. Or if we would have had our own party or push for an independent candidate. We don't have to just always Republican Democrat. It could have been in the middle. It could have been independent, but we fucked that up. So I just want y'all to think about these things that we just spoke about. Like I said, I want y'all to look up Thomas Jefferson owning slaves, Abraham Lincoln owning slaves, and as well as the three speeches that Abraham Lincoln gave to the fourth one. And please do not come out and say, oh, he probably had a change of heart. Don't do that shit. Please do not do that shit. I want y'all to look deeply
That's the
into
easy
what they
cop
are.
out. That's the easy cop
Yeah,
out to say
please
he had
do
a
not.
change of heart.
Don't do not do that shit. Pay the fuck attention to what I'm saying about these Republicans.
Start reading and doing research, because I'm gonna make a statement. This may sound very, very outlandish to some people, but both me and my partner are over 30. If you in your mid to late 30s and you don't know this information, something's wrong with you. Because I guarantee you can recite fucking songs that Ludacris made back in the day, and you can recite songs that Future makes today, but you don't know this information that we're talking about. You don't know about the speeches that Abraham Lincoln did, about the shit he was saying about slaves, about all the presidents that owned slaves, all the things that happened after he quote unquote freed the slaves. If you don't know this information and you treading close to 40, something's wrong with you. You're
Yeah,
not a good leader. That goes for
yeah.
men and women. And especially if you're parents, to be able to pass this information on to your kids when they get old enough to know and understand. If you're over 30 and you don't know this information, shame on you. And you need to step it up. Because as I said, I guarantee you can recite some Rick Ross song, but you can't recite any of the things that we talked about today on this podcast.
And this is the sad part about it. For the people that are running things, that is a great thing for them. That we don't know the shit that we should be learning every
Exactly.
day.
It's the
They
blind
want
leading the
us to be
blind.
separated. This is the plan. And this is what people gotta understand. This make racism is making somebody's pockets fat. Always.
Right.
It, and I can name them. You got the police department, they pockets get fat off racism. Politics, their politicians, they pockets get fat off of racism. Because like we said, like H brought up, when you have the prison system, the privatizing of prisons, they make billions of dollars a year. It's some small cities in a lot of these states, if not almost every state, that feeds what almost everybody in the prison that works there lives in that city. You got like Dannemora, the same prison that Tupac was locked up in upstate New York. That prison helps to feed that whole community in that part of upstate New York where Dannemora is at. So there's a lot of places that prisons feed the city, they feed the town. So guess what? If niggas getting locked up all the time, it put money in their pockets. So if all the black Republicans that's talking about Democrats, well, guess what? They telling the truth when they say about the stupid shit Democrats allow and it gets people locked up. But guess what? When Republicans, instead of having conversations about what's going on, instead of 45 coming out saying when they start looting, start shooting, instead of just having conversations and try to die it down that way, they pass more laws to throw more people in jail. Both fucking sides. So like I said, y'all look up Abraham Lincoln first three speeches when he was running. Look up him and his family owning slaves. Look up Thomas Jefferson owning slaves. These are Republicans. I also want y'all to look up um, um, Nixon and Reagan when they was bringing in drugs. I want y'all to also look up the Democrats with Bill Clinton and the mass incarceration. Look up all these things. Look up Ricky Ross and Nick Waggle. Look up all these things. Democrats and Republicans are both fucking dirty. All politicians, you can't trust none of them motherfuckers. We need to get together. I pray God when it happens so we can do our thing. And I'm gonna say one more thing. I was watching this brother named Dr. Claude Anderson that was talking to Boyce Watkins. He said he feel, God forbid, hopefully it's not true, that he feel like, you know, that this pandemic ain't going nowhere for another year and a half. That's gonna become a water shortage and a food shortage. Because he was saying the four horsemen basically already came. He said, "Behold, the pale white horse is the last one that's coming. This is what's gonna happen. God forbid, hopefully not." But like me and H was talking about, I'll tell you now, I'm gonna remind you now, H. Canada ain't looking so bad right now, dog.
Right. And let me throw this in before we go, because we got to end this. As far as investing in prison real estate, you can look this up too. Like I said, instead of looking up how to twerk, why don't you look up on this? It says that private prison companies can reconstruct themselves as real estate investment trusts as long as the bulk of their assets are in real estate. So this investing in private prisons is real. So when you have white people investing in this shit, investing in private prisons, how are they gonna get? How are they gonna make money off their stock? By keeping our black asses in these prisons. Just look it up. It's right here. And when you do, make sure you go to a .org or a .net, not a .com, because all that shit can be made up. But there are plenty of .orgs. I even have some pulled up on my phone right now that are talking about investments into privatized prisons. And I've even listened to somebody talk about it on a podcast. And the person who was talking, I'm not going to say his name. My partner knows probably who I'm talking about. Someone I listen to quite often who he's not fond of, but he himself has invested in private prisons before. He invested himself his own money. So this shit is real. And this is someone that I listen to all the time that has money here in the United States and he has money offshore. And he talked about it on his podcast about how he in the past invested in private prisons, making money off of it. So this shit is real. They making money off of throwing our black asses in prison. So if that doesn't make you open your eyes, then once again, as we said earlier, you're not on our team, you're on the other team. So fuck off.
Just like that. All right, so we gonna end this.
Wait. I wanted to throw one more thing in here. And this is very small. But I know that you had a chance to speak on Father's Day the other day, and I just wanted to throw this in really quick because I saw something that really, really disgusted me. So I, on Father's Day, was sitting there with my son, and we was just talking, whatever, and he was like, turning on sports. This dude he's only 4. He's never said anything ever in his 4 years on this earth about turning to sports. And I said, what you know about sports? Why you want to watch sports? And he said, because you like them. That warmed me up on the inside. And I bring that up because it can be just the smallest thing that a kid can say to their parent that just makes their day or just warms your heart up. And it doesn't have to be you being with your kid for 3 hours. It could have just been a little 10-minute conversation you had with your kid. And I brought that up because I saw this story about, and I shouldn't be looking at this celebrity shit, but Jocelyn Hernandez, who people may know from the reality show, and she had a kid with Stevie J, or Stevie as she calls him, and she's, they're not together, whatever. You can go look up, they passed and whatever, going back and forth over child custody, and she's with a new guy, and she's posting on one of them motherfuckers, Facebook, Instagram. I think it was Instagram. I'm not big on that shit. But she was basically calling this new dude, saying that he's the father, that's her daddy, and things like that. And I just find that so fucked up for the men and women out there who are divorced or broken up from the person they had a child with, get with a new person and tell their kid that this new person is your mama or your daddy.
Damn.
Y'all motherfuckers out there who do that, you a slime, you're disgusting, you're miserable, and you're a piece of shit. I don't care what type of relationship me and my son's mother may have. I don't care if she went outside right now and slashed all four of my tires, broke out all my windows. We
Hey,
got
hey,
into a big.
hey, hey, hey,
Wait,
hey,
no,
hey,
let me
hey, hey,
finish,
man.
man.
That's
Let me
violent,
finish.
man. Damn.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. She could do all that. We could get into a big, huge fight. Have to move across the country. I live in Delaware. She live in California. I would never tell my son that's not his mom. No matter who I got with and how much in love I was with this new person, that new person is not his fucking mother. He has one mother who went and gave birth to him, who carried him for 9 months. That's his mother, period. So I see this all the time on Facebook, Instagram, all these social media things, Twitter, reading stories about a man will break up with a female and he'll tell the son or daughter, oh, this new chick your mama. Or vice versa, this new person's your daddy. Even if the daddy's a piece of shit, he in prison, he dead, he whatever, he's in Mexico having 30 children. That's that person's parent. And that shit just really, really burns me up when I see that because that's not right. No matter what, how you may feel about that other person, you laid down with them. You had unprotected sex with that person. Okay, we can take away the women out there who got raped. That's a whole totally different situation. That's bad. That's wrong. That's evil. Anybody who's a rapist need to be shot. I'm talking about the people that laid down with somebody and had a child with them. Whatever may happen, y'all broke up, y'all not together, you hate this person. You should never ever tell the child that someone else is their mother or father. All the people who do that, you're disgusting and you're despicable. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I know you feel a deep way about that too. And I just had to talk about that because yeah, we know everything about Father's Day and that fathers don't get put up in the light that that mothers do. And there's this stigma out there that there's no good black fathers out there. There's the black man is a terrible father. That's bullshit. But when I saw that, and when I see it all the time, it really burns me up when someone tells the child that that is not your parent. No matter what your relationship is with that person, that's their parent, period.
Hey, I feel you on that. You already know I agree with you wholeheartedly on that shit. But you know, man, I say you gotta do your best to be careful who you lay down with. You can't just be laying down with somebody because they cute. Point blank, period. You can't lay down because somebody cute. You gotta do your best you can. And sometimes you never know. You never know. I mean, you can do your best you can, and then next thing you know, somebody changes on you. So
Right. But that should not negate the fact that you're telling your child that someone else is their parent that's really not. I don't give a fuck if that man ain't seen that man or woman. I'm gonna put it both ways. I don't care if that man or woman hasn't seen their child in 15 years. That's still their father, that's still their mother. Period. You can say, oh, they ain't been in their life and this new person been there for them. That's great. They can call them whatever, stepdaddy, stepmama. They can call them steppy or whatever kind of little cute fucking name you want to give them. But that's not their biological mother or father, period. And anyone, and I can excuse people who are very young, who are 21, 22, got emotions going on. They still ain't, really live life and travel, seen the world, really experience things in life. But if you're in your 30s and you doing this, you know how to get shot right in your fucking big ass fucking mouth. For real. Because when
mm,
you're in your 30s, you should have enough smarts, intelligence, been through enough situations, seen things, read things, had life experiences to know that that shit is dead wrong. Period.
there you have it. So we glad y'all, what I'm saying, listen to us. Go ahead and talk about some real shit. Go off on some fuck shit as well. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and this your first time listening to Opposite from the Norm. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna come back to y'all again with another episode. You know what I mean? So this your boy JTL.
This HD signing out.
All right, we fuck with y'all.